Today on Inquirer, death toll from LPA-induced rains and floods climbs to 17. The low-pressure area inside the Philippine area of responsibility and the northeast monsoon are expected to bring rains over the weekend, according to Pagasa. 4 unvaccinated Filipino travelers from China test positive for Omicron subvariants. And of the 953 police generals and colonels in the country, 904 have already submitted their courtesy resignations. Good evening. The death toll from several low-pressure areas in parts of the country has climbed to 17, according to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. In a situational report on Friday, the NDRRMC has recorded a total of 17 deaths from rains and flash floods caused by low-pressure areas in the country. Most of the deaths were recorded in Bicol region with 5. 4 deaths were reported in the Zamboanga Peninsula in northern Mindanao, 3 in eastern Visayas, and 1 in the Davao region. In addition, 7 persons were reported injured and 2 others missing. A number of low-pressure areas have entered the country since January 2, bringing widespread rains in most parts. Municipalities have since declared a state of calamity: Tubod, Lanao del Norte, Dolores in eastern Samar, San Miguel in Leyte, and Gandara and Basay in Samar, according to the NDRRMC. The low-pressure area inside the Philippine area of responsibility and the northeast monsoon, or amihan, are expected to bring rains in parts of the country, the State Weather Bureau said. Joining us live is Pagasa weather specialist Grace Castañeda. Ms. Grace?
Yes, good evening po sa ating lahat. Kanina alas 3 nga yung LPA na minomonitor natin ay huling namataan sa layong 90 kilometers silangan ng Surigao City, Surigao del Norte. Nananatili pong mababa yung tsansa nito na maging bagyo, ngunit patuloy nga itong magdudulot ng mga pag-ulan sa malaking bahagi ng ating bansa kung saan mga kalat-kalat hanggang sa mga pangmalawakang pag-ulan yung mararanasan po natin sa bahagi ng Bicol Region, Eastern Visayas, Dinagat Islands at Surigao del Norte. Samantala, makaranas din tayo ng mga pag-ulan sa bahagi ng Northern Mindanao, Zamboanga Peninsula, Mimaropa, sa bahagi din ng Quezon at sa nalalabing bahagi pa ng Caraga at Visayas. Kaya paalala pa rin po sa ating mga kababayan, patuloy po tayo mag-ingat at maging alerto at makipag-ugnayan sa ating mga LGU dahil nananatili nga pong mataas pa rin yung banta ng mga pagbaha at pagguho ng lupa. Samantala, dito sa Metro Manila, makaranas din tayo ng mga pag-ulan dulot naman ng amihan, maging sa Cagayan Valley at sa nalalabing bahagi pa ng Calabarzon at sa lalawigan din ng Aurora. Samantala sa nalalabing bahagi po ng ating bansa, magiging bahagyang maulap hanggang maulap yung kalangitan. Meron lamang tayong mararanasan ng mga isolated ng mga pag-ulan, dulot yan ng amihan at ng mga localized thunderstorms. At sa kasalukuyan po, meron pa rin tayo nakataas na gale warning sa eastern seaboards yan ng ating bansa kung saan hindi muna natin pinapayagang pumalaot yung mga kababayan natin, mga isda, pati na rin yung may mga maliliit na sasakyang pandagat. Ay, yan po munang latest dito sa Weather Forecasting Center ng Pagasa. Grace Castañeda po.
Miss Grace, ilang katanungan lamang. Kanina nga doon sa story natin, itinala ng NDRRMC itong 17 deaths na dahil sa mga low pressure area na dito sa ating bansa. So Miss Grace, hanggang kailan natin inaasahan itong mga pag-ulan na ito dahil sa LPA?
So nakita po natin ngayon, no, ayon sa ating latest analysis, in the next 2 days or in the next 3 days, malaking bahagi pa rin po ng ating bansa yung makakaranas ng mga pag-ulan. Hanggang in the next 2 days po sa bahagi ng Mindanao and Visayas, meron pa rin tayong mga pag-ulan na mararanasan at hanggang sa Monday po, posible pa din yung mga pag-ulan sa bahagi ng Western Visayas and also sa Southern Luzon. So matagal-tagal pa po na makakaranas ng mga patuloy na mga malalakas ng pag-ulan, yung bahagi ng Visayas and also yung bahagi din yung northern portion ng Mindanao at yung ilan pang bahagi ng Mindanao, pati po yung Southern Luzon.
Mhm. Kailan kaya, Miss Grace, aasahan itong, tag-init na panahon dito sa Pilipinas?
Sa atin pong sa ating normally po no, ang amihan natin nagpapatuloy po 'yan hanggang February, hanggang buwan ng Pebrero, and then ang tag-init po natin usually ang transition po from amihan to panahon ng tag-init ay tuwing second half po ng March po ito nangyayari.
Mhm. Para lang mas maintindihan ng mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, Miss Grace, ano, paano po ba natin masasabi na tayo ay nandoon na sa transition period o talagang nandoon na tayo sa sinasabi nga natin na tag-init?
Kapag po, nasa transition na tayo or sa panahon ng tag-init. Kasi ngayon pong tuwing amihan, yung high pressure area po natin kung saan nanggagaling yung malamig na hangin ay nanggagaling po ito sa mainland China. And kapag nagkakaroon na po ng transition is
Mhm.
nagmo-move po ito pa right, mas palayo po kung saan yung hangin na pumupunta na sa ating bansa is galing na siya mostly sa Pacific Ocean or yung easterlies po na tinatawag natin, which is continuous na po yon na yung mga hangin ay nanggagaling na po doon, which is nagiging warm and humid po yung hangin na yon. So doon po natin nakikita. Isa po yun sa indication na nagsisimula na po tayo ng panahon ng tag-init.
Okay, maraming salamat, Miss Grace. That's sa Pag-asa Weather Specialist Grace Castañeda. 4 unvaccinated Filipino travelers who arrived in the country from China have tested positive for COVID-19 Omicron subvariants. Joining us live is Jean Mangaluz. Jean?
Well, Neil, 4 out of the 8 unvaccinated Filipino travelers who arrived in the country from China have tested positive for Omicron subvariants, according to the DOH. China has been experiencing COVID-19 surges driven by these subvariants. Alatea de Guzman, the director 4 of the DOH's Epidemiology Bureau, said that 3 of these cases are BF.7 and one was BA5.2. The Guzman also said that they've yet to determine if the remaining 4 Filipinos were infected with Omicron because the samples have decayed during transportation. Despite the presence of these subvariants, the DOH has assured people that these cases are not unusual and that they've been detected in the country before. That's it from me, Neil. Back to you.
Mhm. Jean, just an update. What is the situation right now or the state of these 4 travelers from China?
Well, Neil, the DOH previously said that these individuals have been under isolation since testing positive, and they've added that they'll continue to monitor these cases. De Guzman also said that Omicron has been the predominant variant in the world, and it really comes as no surprise that it's also the case here in the Philippines.
Mhm. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jean, but despite these cases entering the country from China, there is still no policy right now with regard to closing borders with China, right?
Yes, Neil, that's correct.
Okay. Thanks, Gina. That's Gina Mangaluz reporting live. Of the 953 police generals and colonels in the country, 904 have already submitted their courtesy resignations as the government tries to rid the ranks of the Philippine National Police of ties with illegal drug trade. To tell us more, here's Beatrice Pinlac reporting live. Babe?
Neil Interior Secretary Benjamin Abalos Jr. said the total number to date is 95% of the PNP's top cops. Meanwhile, PNP spokesperson Colonel Jean Fajardo said that the 904 consists of 774 colonels and 130 generals. Previous records of the PNP showed that the institution has a total of 956 full police generals and colonels. But Fajardo clarified that this number decreased after 3 of them retired over the past days. With this, the PNP is still expecting 49 of its high ranking officers to turn in their courtesy resignations until January 31. Abalos said the percentage of senior police officers allegedly linked to illegal drugs is just hovering around 3 to 4% of the total. He noted, however, that this information is still subject to the vetting of the 5-man panel and the National Police Commission. To recall, Neil, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said his administration had long been planning this move in line with its recalibrated campaign against illegal drugs. A 5-man committee, which retired police general and Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong has been formed to evaluate the PNP officials who have submitted their courtesy resignations and to go after those who are found to be involved in the illegal drug trade. Abalos said the findings of the review body will be turned over to the NAPOLCOM to add another layer in the evaluation of the top ranking PNP officers before it is forwarded to Marcos for the necessary action. Back to you, Neil.
Mhm. Bay, during the Duterte administration, we had the controversial Oplan Tokhang, which resulted in thousands of deaths. So the policy was supposedly there or placed to eradicate illegal drug trade here in the country. But here we are asking high-ranking police officials to resign due to fears that high-ranking officials may be linked or maybe in contact already with the drug syndicate. So does that mean that the campaign against illegal drugs during the previous administration failed? So what were the loss of lives for during that bloody campaign? So what does Secretary Abalos have to say about this?
Actually, Neil also raised earlier was the observation of the Human Rights Watch that even with the change of power from President Duterte to President Marcos, the drug war continues and killings of suspected drug offenders are still happening. If you recall, Neil, in PNP records, 61 have so far been killed by state agents
Mm-hmm.
under Marcos drug war, but independent monitoring group that says at least 175 drug-related killings in the country have been recorded since Marcos took office. Abalos said these groups can say what they want, but he
Mm-hmm.
noted that everyone knows how deeply rooted the problem of illegal drugs is in the country. It has been a menace that the government has been trying to solve for decades, according to Abalos. So he said that the recalibrated approach to the drug war under President Marcos and the developments in the
Mm-hmm.
internal narco purge within the PNP should be able to speak for itself.
There was also a suggestion bay in the past, if you can recall. It's from Senate Minority Leader Coco Pimentel, who said the police force or the PNP should instead just file a case against individuals or officers who are identified to be linked to illegal drug trade. After all, it came from Secretary Abalos that, based on your report, it's just the estimate is just around 3 to 4% of the police force are involved in drug trade. So, what is Secretary Abalos's thoughts on this?
Mhm. Abalos said that if the five-man committee and the National Police Commission mount sufficient evidence to lodge a criminal case, then this can be pursued in court as mandated by the law. But to note, Neil, that if there's no enough evidence gathered by authorities, even if an officer is known to have ties to illegal drugs, Abalos said, and I quote, "We will let them retire silently."
I'm sorry, you were cutting in and out on that last quote. He said what?
Yes, Abalos said, and again I quote, "We will let them retire silently."
Okay. Thanks, Bay. That's Beatrice Pinlac reporting live. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. is asking the private sector to help the government digitalize the national ID system. According to Presidential Communications Office, Marcos made the appeal during his meeting with the Private Sector Advisory Council on Friday, where they discussed the proposed public-private partnership for launching the digital Phil ID app. The PCO said that during the discussion, President Marcos asked the private sector to help get the national ID out, noting that it has the technology and capability for new digital IDs. The Philippine Identification System aims to kickstart a mobile app in the first quarter of the year with private sector assistance through PPPs to support PSA's efforts to digitalize the national ID system, according to the PCO. It added that the benefits of adopting a digital ID system include automated eKYC or you know your customers, identify theft protection, credit card and loan applications, and digital wallet. Republic Act number 11055 or the Philippine Identification System Act was signed into law on August 6, 2018. RA 11055 was aimed at establishing a single national identification system for all citizens and resident aliens of the Philippines. After 2 years of being held virtually due to the pandemic, the Grand Sinulog Festival is now being celebrated in person in Cebu City. To give us an update, here's Jera Rivera reporting from Cebu City. Jera?
Hello, Neil. I am here in Cebu City to witness the celebration of Sinulog Festival, the grandest and most colorful festivals in the country after 2 years of being held virtually. Tonight, Cebuanos are set to welcome their new Sinulog Festival Queen as 11 candidates compete for the crown here at Cebu City Sports Center. 5,000 people at most are expected to attend the event. The pageant was officially launched on Monday with a parade of costume and runway competitions bested by Kiara Lian Wellington of Talisay City. Earlier today, Governor Gwendolyn Garcia announced that 8 competing contingents and a guest performer would not join the Sinulog Festival if the Cebu City government insists on holding the event at the South Road properties. For many years, the festival's grand showdown is held at the city's main thoroughfares, mainly along Osmeña Boulevard, with the final staging held at the Midtown Cebu City Sports Center. Garcia is pushing for the traditional venue of the Sinulog instead of the SRP, citing concerns on traffic gridlock, security, and safety of the participating contingents. Back to you, Neil.
Jera, mukhang masaya dyan ngayon sa Cebu. So ano yung mga activities
Yeah.
that we are expecting for the next few days in relation to the Sinulog Festival?
Cebuanos will await for a lot of exciting activities in the coming days, including fluvial procession and solemn procession, concerts and fireworks for tomorrow, January 14, the Sinulog Fiesta Day Holy Mass celebration, grand parade, and fireworks will be on January 15, and last but not the least will be the awarding ceremonies on January 16.
Jared, the big elephant in the room is that there are concerns on the venue. So what is the situation like there right now? And how did we end up settling in this venue despite the concerns raised? Kasi may mga nakita ko, lalo na sa Twitter kanina, na baka daw maputik, may mga ganong concerns.
Neil, concerns regarding the SRP as the venue for the festival this year are still being raised, but the Sinulog Foundation Incorporated announced in a social media post today that the final venue for the Sinulog 2023 Ritual Showdown would still be at the City de Mare South Road Properties grounds. Back to
Okay,
you, Neil.
Jera. Ingat kayo dyan sa Cebu. That's Jera Rivera reporting live. Days leading up to the 71st Miss Universe Coronation Night, Philippines Miss Universe bet Celeste Cortesi stuns fans with her spectacular Filipino-made looks during the pageant's activities. To tell us more, here's Hannah Mallorca reporting live. Hannah?
Hello, Neil. So there's no better way to represent your country in Miss Universe than by serving looks created by its respective designers. Days leading up to the 71st Miss Universe Coronation Night, Celeste Cortesi stunned fans with her spectacular Filipino-made looks during the pageant's activities. Among Cortesi's recent looks include her sparkly sky blue evening gown and Darna-inspired national costume during the pageant's preliminary competition. Both outfits were created by Filipino designer Oliver Tolentino, who also designed the red preliminary gown of Miss Universe 2015, Pia Wurtzbach. Cortesi then showed up in a black leather jacket adorned with blue feathers and matching pants by Perry Tabora the day after the preliminary competition. The beauty queen also turned heads in a Barbie-inspired pink feather dress created by Filipino fashion designer Christine Lam. The beauty queen also was the belle of a pre-pageant dinner event and a gold Michael Leva creation with a thigh-high slit. Can be recalled that Cortesi was named as one of the Women of Style and Substance awardees in October 2022. However, is Cortesi's regal sense of style, breathtaking beauty, and authenticity enough to be Miss Universe? It looks like we have to tune into the coronation night on the morning of January 15 to find out. Should Cortesi win, she will be the Philippines' 5th Miss Universe winner after Gloria Diaz, Margarita Moran, Pia Wurtzbach, and Catriona Gray. Back to you, Neil.
Okay, thanks Hannah and good luck sa ating pambato sa Miss Universe. And these are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.